Every generation of basketball gives us young stars who give us all hope that the league is in good hands. Anthony Edwards made the league stop and take notice the moment his skill caught up to his unmatched confidence. Victor Wembanyama came in with so much hype yet a lot of hate, but he shut all of that down by showcasing his versatility and unlimited potential. Despite all the negative backlash and being labeled a toxic role model, Ja Morant is someone who fans still look to for those amazing plays and theatrics that lift us off our seat. And although fans have indifferent opinions about both players, Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are some of the best league guards the game has currently. This all gives us something to tune into on any given night as stars are spread out all over the league, but here's the thing, not every star is made equal. Some arrive with flash that end up all over social media, others come in with raw dominance that make us wonder how good they could be if they polished their game, and some show up with a presence, or shall we say aura, that you can't quite put into words. This here is where we travel to the city of Orlando and find a 6'10 forward named Paolo Banchero. Paolo Banchero. Can Paolo Banchero make it? Can Paolo Banchero take it to the finals? Can Paolo Banchero lead this team? Banchero really is that good. At just 22 years old, Banchero already looks like he belongs in conversations as one of the league's best, and sometimes he just enforces his will and turns into a nightmare to guard. Some will immediately point to his efficiency without looking at the full scope of things, but what makes Paolo so intriguing isn't just the numbers he puts up, it's how he does it. He's not always relying on constant speed to blow by defenders to the rim, he isn't some guy who jumps out the gym and depends on high-flying dunks, and he certainly isn't someone who's firing it up from deep to burn the defense down at a high rate. Instead, Paolo bends the game to his own rhythm, and it makes for an intriguing playstyle. If every superstar in the NBA has something about them that shows they're built differently, what about Banchero is built different and what is he becoming? Immediately when you tune into a game, you can see the poise and control Banchero possesses. At 6'10", 250 pounds, Paolo is built like your typical power forward, but his game shows you that he's a point forward who can adapt to whatever the team needs at any given moment. Partially why he plays like this can be because of the new NBA playstyle, and I'm referring to how basketball has become a sport that's starting to be positionless. Now, I'm not saying that centers are going to be the new point guards or vice versa, but when you're the star of a team, you have to be able to be effective in many ways on the court and do so with a leveled head. Last season, Paolo put up 26 points per game, 7 rebounds and 4 assists to go along with it, while shooting 45% from the field and 32% from deep. And to show there's no bias, he also dished out 3 turnovers a game as well. If you were to just look at the numbers with no context whatsoever, a lot of us would probably say this is a player who just chucks shots to get points and is probably detrimental to their team. Now, even if we did add context, some people still stand on that statement, but when you dig into the film, you can see that this is far from the truth and that his skill is actually better than some would suggest. If we go back to that point about being able to do a little bit of everything if you're the star player of your team, you'll see here that Paolo attacks the closeout of Luke Kornet to get to the middle of the floor, and at this moment I want you to scan the entire court. Paolo could hit Franz Wagner for the three-pointer, but Franz wasn't shooting the ball that well last season, so that's not the best option for Banchero to go to. Now, he could make this pass over the top of the defense to Gary Harris, but he himself was inconsistent from behind the arc. So after narrowing down the options, Paolo has 4 defenders all locked in on him, so instead of forcing up a shot, he locates his intended target and puts it right on the money. Now, other times when Banchero gets the ball, he doesn't have to wait for an outlet as he can handle the ball decently at his size, and right here you can see the defense is ready to close the gap if he was to push towards the middle. So this is when you have to commit to an attack one way so you can just pull in 1 defender and not 2, and now you have the perfect setup. With Green's momentum going towards Paolo's right side, Banchero pulls out some magic by using the carry behind the back to skate past Green, and now with Dillon Brooks running over to contest, this is where the large stature comes into play as he's not even bothered when banking this off the glass. Paolo's game is simply about control. He doesn't let the defense dictate every single move, as he instead manipulates defenders, bends rotations, and finds angles that weren't there 2 seconds before. His effect on the game can be felt at many different levels when he's in his zone, but for the way his impact is felt the most, this is where we have to dive deep into his driving. Power, finesse, patience. At his core, Paolo is a skilled slasher, and that's truly where everything begins. His ability to get downhill at any given moment and force the defense to react is what unlocks the rest of his game. Unlike some young players who rely on one single move to get to their desired area, Paolo's attacking has layers. Since he's played on this Orlando Magic team that has subpar shooting, it allows defenses to pack the paint heavily, which makes it hard to convert inside. So this is when you have to start being creative in your approach. At the height of 6'10", you would assume that all Paolo would do is simply bully defenders to get a bucket, and sure, he does do that, and we will touch on it. But with defenses scheming against you every single night and sending multiple defenders to build a wall that you have to figure out, it's not as simple as bulldozing through every time. At his simplest form, it can look like this play here, where he has the gap he wants to attack versus the Celtics, but he knows if he attacks immediately, Brown would just slide over to force him into a double team. So Paolo uses the hezzy retreat to allow Brown to slide back before bursting through the gap, and this now leads to an easy two-hander. This patience is a huge thing to already display early in his career, because you'll have times where it allows for the floor to be cleared out, leading to an emphatic slam like this. And then instead of immediately attacking this left side, which is visibly wide open, Paolo will choose to set up Paul George as if he's going to come off this screen, only to then reject it. And now with the step on George towards the rack, it doesn't matter who tries to rotate over to stop him, as he's focused on converting this layup. Having the ability to shift pace like this is a key thing when it comes to catching defenders off guard. You can't just depend on beating defenders off the dribble, and you also can't depend on taking your time every possession. So when you blend both together, this is when you become that much harder to guard. Now with that said, the patient attack is one way Paolo is able to dissect the defense, but what stands out a lot and separates him from most guys his size is that he's able to get crafty with his approach that can grant him advantages on defenders when he's attacking. Such as when he pushes up the floor here against his new teammate in Desmond Bane, you can see the double forming if he was to continue down the middle. So Paolo crosses over, giving himself to step on Bane towards his left side, and once again you can see another potential cutoff with Zach Edey stepping over. This here is where Paolo has the perfect setup to spin into the paint because 1, Bane is recovering hard, 2, there's not really a rim protector in sight, and now 3, he can draw the foul plus one more at the line. To build on this further, it won't even be Paolo avoiding a double team in this situation, as instead it's about neutralizing each threat that comes in his way. So first he chooses the behind the back as his weapon of choice to delete CJ McCollum out the picture, and now when he's pretty much at the enemy's base, he must make a quick yet effective move to secure the loop. So that's where he uses his finisher, aka the Euro, and here we go. To see someone of his stature moving like this is amazing. Paolo understands that he doesn't have to do too much, but he can also add in some flair to his game, which not only helps him be more effective, but it can also grab viewers' attention as well. This aspect of his game isn't a major part of it, but it does serve a purpose for those times when he needs to get in his bag. When we really look at his slashing skill set, me and you both know that it's mainly predicated on his power that we hinted at earlier, and this here is truly what will make him an unstoppable force. If there's a defender matched up on him that gives up any amount of size, Paolo will just lower that shoulder to all out move them back so he can get deeper in the paint to finish right over the front of the rim while giving the too small gesture. And even when it is someone around his height and weight, he'll give them the same treatment when attacking the basket, and well, he's just too hard to stop.
Pulling his way to the basket. Score the hoop!
This bullying nature can sometimes be looked at as unfair, as defenders really stand no chance at slowing him down if they step in front. And I mean, hey, ask Paul George how he felt when Paolo completely leveled him, sending him to the ground before slamming it home with 2. And if you watch the NBA even casually, you know that Julius Randle is known to get physical with his play, but even he put no fear or stood any chance when Paolo decided to go right at him. Last season, Paolo converted 50% of his 12 drops per game, while averaging 4 free throw attempts off these, knocking down 3 a game. The upside for Banchero in this area is tremendous. He could start to add in that floater even more, he could further tighten up his handle to shift defenders to then get to the rack more consistently, and with his agility and speed improving, he can start to blow by defenders who aren't prepared to go put 2 points on the board. All of this is what makes the next part of his game so dangerous, because once you've seen Paolo drive 2 or 3 times, you're expecting him to put his head down again, but voila! That's when he'll stop on a diamond riser for the mid-range jumper for straight cash. I know some people don't like the mid-range, but this is where his scoring package starts to look like something from another era. He's not simply just rushing to the three-point line. He's carving out his spots inside the arc, fading over smaller defenders, pulling up out that pick and roll, or backing you down just enough to rise up over you with that smooth release. The driving game is one factor, and it's what sets the tone, but the mid-range is what starts cutting you a little deeper. When we look at Paolo's in-between scoring, he averaged 4.7 attempts in the mid-range last season, which put him at 3rd in the league in attempts, and for all players that shot 4 or more attempts in the mid-range, which is only 9 players, Banchero is 8th in percentage at 41.7%. Now this isn't the worst percentage, but it could be improved on. A lot of the reason this percentage is lower is due to his shot selection at times, but a main cause of the issue is that Orlando had virtually 0 spacing on the floor, and the flow of the offense would tend to get stagnant a lot, which would lead to Banchero having to make something out of nothing in not so ideal circumstances. Take this play for an example. When Paolo gets the size up versus Nembhard, not only does he have Halliburton ready to clog the right side attack, as he also has Miles Turner sitting in the paint waiting for a drive, and Siakam on the left side attack angle waiting to help as well. With improved playmaking and trust, this pass to Suggs will probably be the better option as it's still early in the shot clock, so you could possibly find a better look. But with the mismatch in his favor, Paolo just decides to rise up over the top to bury it. Time and time again, you'll see the defense load up like this to deter Banchero from even thinking about attacking the basket, so this is why it's key that he develops an even more consistent pull-up jumper that he can depend on. I personally believe that this will be the X factor to his game, because it's not that he can just rise up off a simple one dribble pull-up. Paolo truly has many ways he can get into his shot. If he catches at the work desk and wants to keep it simple, he can use that one dribble combined with a step back to create the distance here before knocking it down. When creativity comes into play, Banchero can use that shimmy himmy on Luka to fade back for the bucket, and out the combo handle, he can sidestep to create a better angle, and this is pure money. If you've been around here at Hoop Mastery, you know that I truly love the mid-range, as I think it's a vital aspect in a player becoming a superstar. It's not like you can continuously attack the rack or just sit on the outside and hoist up threes if you want to become a serious threat who can break down the defense no matter the scheme. Like when he comes off the screen here, there's no room to pull up for three as Tatum is right on his back, so the only option is to attack forward. But here's the thing, we all can see that Luke Kornet is waiting right in front for the drive. So although Banchero is a bully ball bandit, it's still going to be more complex to score at the rim because the defender is right there. So here's where being patient and keeping Tatum on your back helps you out a lot, and then being able to step back away from the big man and Tatum to fade over the top lets you finish off the job. This confidence and ability to create like this is rare for a player his age, and it's why defenders are forced into bad predicaments. If they play him tight, he'll use that strength to drive right through him, and if they give him space, he calmly rises up for a jumper. But here's where the real evolution happens. Once a player proves they can punish you from both the drive and the mid-range, defenses are left with only two options. Either send help or step all the way back and make him shoot a three. These two things are honestly the best options for defenses as they are the weaker parts of Banchero's game, but that's not to say that he can't do either one. With Paolo dishing out nearly 5 assists per game last season, it shows that he does have an out of spot open teammates, and although his 3-point percentage sat at 32% last season, he displayed no fear in letting it fly when the defense allowed him to get the shot off. This right here is what I like to call the bigger picture. If Paolo is not to only work on his strengths, but also uplift his weaknesses, this is where he could totally obliterate defenders and they will have no way to slow him down. When you zoom all the way out, what Paolo is doing in Orlando isn't just about scoring numbers or highlights. It's about building a franchise identity. The Magic haven't had a true superstar since Dwight Howard, and before Dwight, it was Shaq. Every time this franchise had a true star-dominant player, they eventually made it to the finals, and Paolo Banchero represents that same type of foundation. Orlando plays with physicality, they defend as a unit, they grind out wins even when the offense isn't smooth, and at the center of it all is a 22-year-old who already looks like he belongs on the biggest stage, and with the Eastern Conference wide open, what better time is it for Orlando and Paolo Banchero to make a major leap and show you that every star is made different. If you enjoyed this video and want to continue to help me making these, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and comment your favorite part about this video. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.